I've been thinking a lot about the 23rd Psalm lately, probably because I was listening to some devotions that were based in that psalm. And I think it's very familiar to most of us, but sometimes that familiarity can cause us to become complacent about the truth that's contained there. Today I want to think about verse 3, where it says, "He restores my soul. He guides me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake." And when we think about that verse, I think we get the concept of God restoring our soul, that there are many things in our faith, in our relationship with God, that are restorative to us. But that idea of he guides me in the paths of righteousness can be a little bit more troubling, because sometimes we view that as God wants us to walk in this very narrow way because he's kind of a cosmic killjoy. He doesn't really want us to have a lot of fun. He wants to make sure that his great list of do's and don'ts are followed. But if we look at that last line of the verse, it gives us the idea of why he guides us in the path of righteousness. And it is because of for his name's sake. In other words, kind of for the glory and honor of his name. That when we live our lives according to God's plan, it brings him glory. But I think we also need to remember that it is also what is best for us. Just a few Psalms before, in Psalm 19, as David is writing, he talks about God's law, and he talks about all of the wonderful benefits that it has, all of the things that it is good for. And then he goes on in verse 11 to say, "By them," in other words, by the precepts of God's law, "your servant is warned, and in keeping them there is great reward." God leads us in a particular way for his glory, for his name's sake, but also for our good. Because living the way that God has instructed us to live, living the way that God has purposed for us, is what's really best for us. So today, as you go through your day and you think about your faith, and you might even have those moments where you have this thought, "Oh, if only I wasn't a Christian, I could say this, I could do that," and that might feel really good. Keep in mind that the way that God directs us to live is for his glory, and we don't want to bring him dishonor, but it is also for our good, because he loves us, because he wants what's best for us, and because he has a great purpose for us as his children.